Can you think of someone in your life right now who is always there for you, but somehow always manages to make you feel like you are in competition with them? Yes? How about that friend who appears to be supportive, but somehow always make you feel like you are not good enough? Okay, I used to have someone like that some time ago. I had an experience in early 2015 when I decided to start my own small fashion business. I was excited, nervous, and like any entrepreneur ready to hustle. My childhood friend Paul seemed like my biggest supporter. He shared my business post on Facebook and WhatsApp status. He brought me clients and even gave me advice on how to grow this business. He was always there cheering me on, and I was indeed grateful for that. But I noticed that as time went on, things began to change. The support I was receiving from this my trusted ally started feeling off. His feedback wasn't exactly uplifting anymore. It was more like subtle jabs disguised as helpful advice. Are you sure the design will sell? I mean, it's not really the latest trend. Then there were moments when I would share a small win, like getting a client or making a huge sale, and Paul would casually downplay it. Hey, that's great, but it's not really a big deal. Lots of people are doing that these days. I started to feel the undertone of jealousy and envy. It wasn't about my success anymore. It was about how my success made him feel. The friendship, which I thought was rock solid, became a delicate balancing act between loyalty and quiet sabotage. It was like he wanted to be happy for me truly, but his jealousy kept creeping in. It is on this premise that I introduce to you the title of today's podcast episode: The Paradox of a Trusted Friend, a Secret Enemy, and the Psychology of Frenemy Relationships. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to welcome you to the very first episode of my podcast, Rants, Unscripted. I'm your host, where you may be, and today I'd like to rant on the concept of frenemy relationships. But first, who is a frenemy? You may have noticed that there is someone who acts like your friend, but deep down does not have your best interest at heart. This person might even be supportive on the surface, but you often feel undermined and even sabotaged by their actions. I am talking about that kind of confusing and complicated relationship where you cannot categorically tell without ambiguity if they are your trusted friend or secret foe and saboteur. One question lingering on your mind right now is, why do these people you think are your friends try to ambush your progress and sabotage your success? There is a psychology behind it, and I'll explain to you using two concepts. The first concept is the concept of social comparison theory, and the second, the concept of cognitive dissonance. I give you a practical example. Let's say as a lady you have this female friend or a bestie, so to speak. Then one day you post on your WhatsApp status about your recent promotion at work, and your friend comments with a congratulatory message, but then follows up immediately with a post about her own amazing new project at work, subtly implying that her achievement is more impressive than yours. What your friend is doing is exhibiting the social comparison theory. She is comparing her own success to yours and feeling the need to outdo you. By sharing her own achievements, she is trying to restore her own sense of self-worth and status. This behavior can emanate from feelings of inadequacy, jealousy, or competition. Social comparison theory suggests that people often measure their own worth by comparing themselves to others, which oftentimes lead to behaviors that might seem supportive on the surface but actually undermine others. So each time you share a testimony of your success, whether in business, relationship, or life, it can trigger feelings of jealousy or inadequacy in others, especially your friends. And instead of being happy for you, they might subtly try to bring you down. They do this as a psychological response to help them feel better about themselves. Also, there is something called cognitive dissonance. It is the mental conflict people experience when their feelings don't match up or align with their actions. Let's say you have this friend who has always admired your charisma and confidence, but along the line start to feel envious of your accomplishments. The truth is that this person doesn't feel comfortable about the conflict of the admiration and the feeling of envy they are experiencing. but they rationalize their behavior to make them feel good about your growth while maintaining the envy. A frenemy might genuinely care about you, but their envy or competition with you leads them to undermine you, and often without even realizing that they are doing it. Let me quickly say this. Sometimes it is not about them being your enemy outright. It is about how their envy gradually poisons the connection they have with you. Sometimes they start out as being your friends genuinely, but their inability to handle the success or achievement starts to poison their minds. It is important that you understand that these frenemies can come in different forms. There is the overcritical cheerleader. This is that friend who always offers feedback, but is rarely constructive. For instance, you share the news of landing a big client and they respond with, "That's great, but are you sure you can handle the pressure? You are not really that organized." Is this a compliment or an insult? You notice that while they may cleverly frame their comments as concern, the underlying tone often diminishes your achievements or confidence. Also, there is the competitor in disguise. This friend always seems to replicate your ideas. If you start a thrift business, they suddenly enter into the thrift business. If you post a new skill or accomplishment online, they share their own immediately. For this kind of frenemies, their actions are less about learning from you and more about keeping up with you or even staying ahead of you. Also, there is the subtle saboteur. Imagine planning a significant event like a wedding, a product launch, or a party. Your friend promises to be helpful but forgets crucial details or shows up late or even doesn't show up at all. And then it is brushed aside off as innocent mistake. But if you continue to notice it as a pattern, then it suggests a lack of genuine support. That's a frenemy. They are also the better off friend. This kind of person, when you share good news with them, they shift the spotlight from you immediately. For example, you tell them, "I just got promoted at work," and then they respond with, "Congrats, but my boss just also gave me a massive bonus last month. It's insane." They constantly position themselves as the one who is doing better. There is also the gossiping ally. These ones will support you publicly but criticize you privately. They might share your post and congratulate you online, but when they are discussing with their friends, they are talking down on you. "She's doing well in business. I heard he's doing well, but the business is struggling behind the scenes." Now, before I tell you about how to navigate and manage your relationship with this kind of people, let me quickly show you some red flags, some ways to identify them. Number 1, when you notice that you are getting backhanded compliments, they are praising you with a touch of insult along the praise. For example, they might say, "I don't think that you would pull this off. You know, you are not that intelligent." Red flag. Also, when you start getting constant comparisons, they are always measuring themselves against you. "Oh, that's nice, but I just got a bigger promotion last week." Red flag. When their comments or responses undermine your confidence, you share something exciting and then they respond with something like, "Are you sure you can handle that? It seems like a lot." Red flag. When their support is inconsistent, one day they are all over your success and then the next day they are nowhere to be found when you need them. Red flag. They start downplaying your success. Every time you achieve something, they minimize it. It's not really that big of a deal. Lots of people are doing the same thing nowadays. Red flag. If you are noticing these behaviors in people who you call your friends, there is a chance that you might be dealing with a frenemy. Now that we know how to spot the frenemy relationships, let me quickly talk about how to handle them. You have to be honest with yourself about the relationship you share with these people. Understand that it is a mix of positive and negative, and sometimes the best way to deal with it is to acknowledge it. Set clear boundaries. Limit what you share with them, especially personal or sensitive information. If they give unsolicited advice, politely decline. "Thanks, but I've got it covered." Focus on positivity. Try to steer conversations toward positive, neutral topics. Don't let their competitive nature drag you into the negative space. Don't play into their drama. If they try to undermine you or make snide comments, stay calm and confident. Respond with self-assurance. "I am proud of this accomplishment and I am focused on my growth." Build a strong support system. Surround yourself with people who genuinely want the best from you. Your true friends will uplift you and the energy is contagious. Limit dependence. Don't rely on your frenemy for emotional support or advice. If you notice sabotage, take steps to protect yourself, whether that's double-checking plans or finding alternative sources for support. If the relationship is important to you, consider having an honest conversation. For example, I've noticed some tensions in our friendship And I love to clear the air. Is there something bothering you? Is there something you like to talk to me about? And finally, know when to walk away. If the relationship is too toxic or draining, it is okay to distance yourself. Your well-being should always come first. As I come to the end of this episode, I would leave you with this. In life, there must be frenemies who will try to dim your light. But always remember that their negativity is the fuel for your light to shine brighter. Take some time today to have a moment of introspection and think about your own relationships. Do you have a frenemy in your life? And if so, how are you dealing with them? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you once again for tuning in to Rants Unscripted. I hope this episode has been enlightening. Please don't forget to follow my podcast on Spotify and other streaming platforms so you get notified when I post new episodes. Show some love by sharing this episode with your friends and frenemies. And I'll catch you again next week. Until then, cheers.